Today on Project Pure Athlete, we take a look at the jump warm-up. Are you warming up correctly, or are you leaving inches on the table? We take a look at a surefire approach to get you jumping your highest. This can be done before a game. This can be done before a workout. Bottom line is, this warm-up is for anybody looking to jump their highest. Warming up for a jump requires a three-pronged approach. What we need to take into consideration is elevating the amount of blood flow in the body, utilizing some general movement principles. Then we get into movement specifics, so getting the ranges of motion appropriate for the task at hand, and finally, activation. So that's what we're going to be going through today. And without further ado, let's dive straight into the first part of the warm-up. So I'm going to narrate you through this entire warm-up. All the sets and reps, distances, things like that will be in the description below, but we're really starting with just a very classic jog back pedal. That movement's going to lead us into our tall shuffles. You're going to see the arms used to really strike against the floor. And as we come back, watch as the arm strikes down and down and down, and we're staying bouncy and tall. It's really driven by the kind of energy we create with our intentions. This is a 360 run. It's a bit of a shuffle, back pedal, forward run. What we're doing here is really just trying to wake up that nervous system, task the body from all different angles. It's a lot of fun, I'll be perfectly honest, and I usually do that in like a basketball court or a court. Some front to back leg swings. Find yourself a wall. You'll notice I'm pivoting on that outside foot, and we're using the leg like a pendulum. Important thing here is that you're not forcing the leg into any positions or ranges of motion that are uncomfortable or unsafe. We're back and forth using gravity primarily and breathing through the entirety. Right into that side-to-side leg swing as well. These ones feel great. You can even bend that leg a little bit on the long external movement right here, just to be able to get yourself into some additional ranges of motion through the adductors, or the inside of the leg, or the groin as some people call it, back and forth. And we're breathing. You notice that I'm letting that hip rotate through with the leg as well. Now we're going to be getting into a little bit of a hip complex here. Hip opener walk, we like to call this one. And it's open and close, little skips in between to keep that elastic stimulus involved and stay nice and bouncy. Open, tap, close, tap. You can float the leg if you want, or you can tap the leg if you'd like. But ideally here is we're breathing and moving the hips through that healthy range of motion. Everything now is really dedicated to the movement involved in the workout to come, right? So we're making sure that we're getting the hips, that mid-back, we're getting the ankles, the knees, everything with a healthy amount of blood flow and healthy amount of range of motion built into it as well. This is backwards RDL walk. A lot harder than it looks. Performing a traditional single leg RDL is a little bit easier than as we move backwards. We're setting our posture and we're finding that balance. A little bit of hamstring sweeps. This is a very classic track and field inspired exercise. A couple little skips. We place that foot up in a kind of a kickstand position, and we're sweeping the arms and breathing through that. It's very nice and dynamic, and it's getting some quick lengthening and relaxation through the entire posterior chain. Now we explore some isometrics, and this isometric split squat hold is very, very good for getting blood flow through the tendons of the knee, quadriceps, patellar tendon. Also getting some contractile history, or some kind of flexing history into the muscle leading into an explosive exercise like jumping is very, very important. So we're holding this. You'll see I'm holding it for a little bit less than I would normally program, just to kind of give you that demo. But again, all of the descriptions for this warm-up series are in the description below, so make sure you grab that to know exactly what to do. These are corkscrews, some of my favorite. Gets a lot of motion through that kind of lumbo-pelvic region, that lower back. Also, the coordination required to move those legs in unison is a lot harder than it looks, but we're staying bouncy and we're staying light. This is a PPA staple here. This is our straight leg snap downs. We're up nice and smooth, and we're driving that foot through the hip back to the floor. We're snapping it down, toe stays up, foot contacts ball of the foot underneath the hip, and we stay tall and balanced. If you feel like you're falling forward or backwards, you need to readjust that posture to be able to keep that balance. Now we have our straight leg run. You could start with a choppy run and accelerate, but that's a nice primer, the straight leg snap down for the straight leg run. we have our impulse blocks. This is a technique-specific PPA staple where we're synchronizing the strike of our arms down with the contact of that last foot or our block foot. Block foot is responsible for the braking mechanism of jumping and also gives us a nice pop off the ground. We call that a nice complementary impulse. And if those arms and foot are synchronized well, you get a lot more power off the ground. You can see here, I'm just having a chat, I think, with our cameraman, but we're gonna get into some push punch. This is a kind of low percentile effort, drive through the penultimate, pop off the ground. You'll see as I'm driving through the penultimate, I'm sending the arms back. This is essentially just warming up the entire movement of jumping, but in a segmented fashion. So again, we're going into that push punch. I'm doing it on both plant sides. So if you are a traditional right-left plant, warm the other side up as well. Creating that full body balance is going to make sure that you're a very clutch mover when it comes to your sport. And now some accels. You're seeing I'm doing some accelerations here and getting the body nice and warm.